My name is Justin Welch, and I am a cyber resilience specialist here at NetApp. And today I'd like to talk you through some of the solutions that we have in place that are secure by design. NetApp has designed our solution to be secure right out of the box, and there's a lot of things you can take advantage of that you may not be aware of today. It kind of reminds me of when my kids were young. My son, he was really into fixing and tinkering with things with my tools. So I didn't want to have that, so I bought him his own toolbox. I gave it to him, and he would take that toolbox and come out and work with Dad on the car or on the lawnmower or whatever it was. Fast forward one day, we came home, all the doorknobs were taken off of every door in our house. That was not a great use of those tools, and we really learned a lesson at that point. It's one thing to have tools, and it's another thing to understand how to implement and use them in the right scenarios and in the right places. So as we walk through the solutions today, we're going to talk about these things and how we can use them in a more effective and secure manner. So to start out today, we're going to talk about encryption. NetApp can do encryption. Encryption is at the core of all of our solutions. You can have data at rest encryption, you can have data in flight encryption, and we can do encryption at the hardware layer, at the software layer. It doesn't really matter. Encryption is a table stake solution for us. You configure your key management system, you enable encryption on the storage, and you don't have to worry about it after that. It's important to note, encryption of data at rest is all about protecting a physical device. If somebody comes in and they pull one of those devices out and try to run away with it, or an entire shelf, they can't plug that drive in anywhere else and get any meaningful data off of it because that data is encrypted. Now, encryption of data at rest is very important as it protects our physical device, but we also need to encrypt our data in flight. Data that is moving from one system to another, to and from our endpoint, our end users, and we have multiple solutions and multiple things. We have multiple solutions that can help achieve that goal. So for example, we can do IPsec, we can do CIFS signing and sealing, we can do Kerberos with KRB5P for NFS encryption, we can also do encryption of NFS over TLS and many other solutions that are out there. Let us know if this is a requirement in your environment, and we can help you solve that problem. Now, one of the other tools that we have available to us are snapshots. NetApp snapshots are the #1 way to recover from a ransomware attack. If you have a snapshot taken prior to an attack, you will be able to recover your data. And it's that simple. NetApp snapshots by default are immutable. They always have been. A ransomware or malware attack can come through and wipe out all the data in the active file system, but they cannot change the data that's captured in that snapshot. It is in a read-only state. So if you have a snapshot after a ransomware attack, you can use single file snap restore, volume snap restore, many different ways. Create a clone, copy data out. You have lots of recovery options if you have a snapshot in place prior. So make sure you're taking plenty of snapshots in your environment and storing those for as long as you can, as that will be your recovery mechanism after an attack. Now, snapshots are awesome. However, if an administrator comes in and says, hey, guess what? I hate this place, I'm out of here, they can delete snapshots. So how do we protect against a deleted snapshot? That brings forth our snap lock solution. Snap lock compliance is the last line of defense. An attacker can come in, internal attack, external attack, it doesn't matter. With snap lock compliance, you cannot delete that data. It is immutable and indelible. Can't be changed, can't be deleted. So snap lock compliance, in fact, we believe in snap lock compliance so much, it is the basis for our ransomware recovery guarantee. And we'll have other sessions that go into that a little bit deeper. But again, snap lock is our defense, the last line of defense. And we want to make sure that you have that in place. SnapLock Enterprise is just like SnapLock Compliance. However, it is a little bit softer. It allows an administrator account to go in and modify some of the attributes of that SnapLock. SnapLock Enterprise is useful in many instances. There are quite a few use cases where that is the only mechanism that folks want to use to protect their data. And then the third solution under the SnapLock umbrella is our tamper-proof snapshots. Now, SnapLock Compliance and Enterprise, you have to create this third copy of the data, this additional bucket of data. You'll replicate data into there. It'll inherit that retention policy that you set. and that data is locked for that amount of time. With tamper-proof snapshots, however, those are built into the solution. You can run them in production, you can run them in your secondary site, and it's going to take those immutable snapshots that you're already taking and add that indelible attribute on top of them. So you take a snapshot, and now nobody can delete that snapshot for X number of days. And we typically like to keep the retention on a tamper-proof snapshot shorter than you would, say, a SnapLock compliance solution. So if you need short-term, think 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, tamper-proof snapshot is your best bet. If you say, hey, I want to keep data around for 5 years, 10 years, 30 years, or anywhere between 1 day to 100 years, SnapLock compliance is going to probably be the better solution for that. Now, we came out with another solution, another tool, and that is called the Autonomous Ransomware Protection. ARP is named this because we knew that nobody else in the industry was using ARP for any type of acronym, right? We're the first ones to come up with it, and ARP means Autonomous Ransomware Protection. Just know it. Now, built into ONTAP is this ability to detect a malware or ransomware attack. Autonomous Ransomware Protection, or ARP, can be run at the individual volume level. You can enable it. It's going to come up in a learning mode. You're going to run it for a pre-configured amount of time, and it's going to learn the baseline activities that happen on that volume. Then when it comes into active mode, and as additional files are written and changes are being made, we will analyze whether that looks like normal activity or whether that looks like suspicious activity, and then we will immediately, if we detect a suspicious activity, immediately take a snapshot, and then we will raise alerts and let everybody know, hey, we think we found something that's going on. And we've added features to tune up or tune down the sensitivity of that, and there's some really exciting features coming up in future releases of ONTAP around Autonomous Ransomware Protection. So stay tuned for more information around ARP. Now, before I continue on too much, I do want to recognize that all of these solutions have auditing and logging capabilities built into them. And we can integrate with your SIEM system, or you can have audit logs being sent to specific locations. If you want to know more about audit logging, please let us know. We'd be happy to help you configure the auditing and logging component of all of these internal solutions. But just know, we do want to be able to integrate with the other components that are out there in the world. So, F-policy is the next tool we're going to talk about. There are two modes of F-policy. There is the native mode, and there's also the external mode. Native mode F-policy allows us to block files based on file extension. So, as files are being written to the storage, and you as a storage administrator don't want to have MP3 files being uploaded to your storage, you can create a policy with .mp3 extension and say deny all MP3 extension or files that try to be written, and they will not be able to be land on the storage. The end user will get a write denied error. Very effective way. If you have a good list of known bad file extensions, you can put those in that policy and deny the write of those files right from the get-go. Now, there's also an include capability. So that if somebody wants to write, say you have an application that writes a specific file type, like a PDF or a TIFF or something like that, you can allow only those file types to be written, and no other file type can be written to the storage except for what you specify in that allow list in F-policy native mode. Now, F-policy external mode is much more powerful. With F-policy, as files are being written and stored on the storage, we analyze everything that happens to a file. So file write, file create, file delete, file move, file copy, file modify, access time update, permissions change. Any single one of those actions is going to generate an event. And that event gets sent from the storage controller to an external F-policy server. And in NetApp's case, we have a tool called Cloud Insights. Our workload security tool can specifically plug into those events and analyze them. And it is a user and entity behavioral analytics tool, a UEBA. And those tools are fantastic because they use AI to analyze the type of access that's happening and determine, yes, that is approved in normal usage, or no, that is abnormal. We want to stop it, and the workload security tool can actually stop an attack. It can quarantine a user. It can ban an IP address and stop an attack in process. That is all based on this F-policy engine that we have. The next tool that we have is secure multi-tenancy. And secure multi-tenancy is one of those capabilities that a lot of our customers take for granted. Let's say you have your blue group over here and your green group over here, and you don't want them to see each other's data. They don't want to be able to access each other's information or anything like that. You can create a storage virtual machine that is completely isolated over here, has its own network, has its own permissions, has its own storage on the storage side. You can create a second SVM over here. Same thing. It's just like a virtual machine that can't be influenced or impacted by anything else on the outside of it. And it is a fantastic way to implement secure multi-tenancy, and you can have many, many, many of these SVMs on your storage, as many as you need, so that you can protect that data that's there and ensure that you're not getting crossover from one group to another group. It's a fantastic use case for service providers and those types of solutions that are out there. Now, the final tool I'd like to talk about today is multi-admin verification. MAV is a tool set that allows us to have checks and balances on the commands that are being run. And there are twofold benefits here that we'll talk about. One, it'll stop a command from being run. The way it works is for a command, destructive command such as snapshot delete or volume delete, you configure MAV to say, all right, if somebody runs this command, 3, 4, or 5, anywhere between 1 and 10 approvers have to approve that command before it takes effect on the storage. So let's say I decide I want to delete data because I'm going to leave the company and I want to destroy everything behind me. So I'm going to run the volume delete command. With MAV configured, that command will get sent to a pool of approvers that are up here, and those approvers have to sign in and approve that command before it takes effect on the storage. And you configure how many approvers you need, 3 or 4 or 5, again, from 1 to 10. And the MAV command set, again, it will stop that attack until that approval comes in. That original person that ran the command will have to run it again after approval comes in. If it doesn't come in, then they can't run it and it will not take effect on the storage. So the command gets approved, now they run it and it will delete the volume or delete the snapshot or do whatever it is you need to do. Now, I said there were two benefits. One is it'll stop that command from being run. The second benefit is everybody in that approver pool that's up here will get notification that that command was run. So, hey, why is somebody trying to delete a volume in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock in the morning? Hey, why is somebody trying to create new logins for the storage? All of those commands get captured in this MAV command set that's out there. And so you can see, what are people trying to do? Why are you up at 3 in the morning trying to run this command, and what's going on? What's behind it? Gives you an opportunity as an admin to stop it or to address it and move on if that's what you need to do. Now, all of these commands are part of the control plane, or the management plane, sorry. So as an administrator logs into the storage and they want to get in and make changes and utilize all these wonderful tools that we have, they first have to go through MFA, multi-factor authentication. So if they are not prepared to go through MFA, if they are trying to log in from somewhere they shouldn't, or they don't have the second authentication mechanism, they can't log in to access any of these controls or capabilities that we have, any of these tools. After that, they also have to have roles. So rollback is another component that is in place to help validate those that are coming in through the management plane to touch the storage and make changes into our security tool set. Now the users are pretty happy up here, right? We want to keep them happy, and so they access the storage, and as they're coming in, they're going to have to approve first through, LDAP usually, and there are multiple ways, Active Directory, right? Lots of different ways that they can be authenticated, but before they can touch that data, they have to go through those authentication pieces. MFA, role-based access, this is how we authenticate through the management plane, and if you're wanting to gain access from the management side. So in conclusion, to wrap this all up, we talked about multi-admin verification, how multiple admins have to approve a command. We talked about secure multi-tenancy, how you can create secure environments that don't bleed over into each other. F-policy, autonomous ransomware protection engine, SnapLock, defense, snapshots, and encryption, right? These are all tools that are in our tool bag. And if you want to know more about them, you can check out security.netapp.com. We have our best practices hardening guide in there around how to harden ONTAP and configure all of these different configurations and options in there and ensure that your environment is as secure as possible. And just like my son, who has progressed on to being a great mechanic who fixes ATVs and can do wondrous things with that toolbox of tools, you too can configure your environment to be secure from the ground up and ensure that when you roll this out, you are in a secure by design environment that is going to protect you from the attacks and the different harm that people want to do to your environment. Thanks.